Hey everyone, Recall Reviews here. So I decided today I would do a video on my third video on my I Have Autism series, and I debated for a while on what exactly I'd be talking about in this third video, but I decided to title this video I Have Autism Making Friends. Um, when you have autism like me, you definitely have a hard time making friends. All my life I've always struggled trying to find people that accept me for who I am and don't want to change me. When I was a kid, when I was younger, I grew up in a small town and everybody knew everyone, and it was pretty I had a good time in elementary school. I mean, I wouldn't say I had best friends, like this big group of friends or anything, but we were all civil toward each other. We were kids. We um, treated each other like you would anyone else. We all played together on the playground, and we were just good to each other. I think there was only maybe like one time in elementary school where there was a kid that um, did something mean to me, and I mentioned in my I Have Autism video with the kid ripping up my mom's handmade invitation in front of me. But otherwise, I had a pretty good time in elementary school, but when I got to junior high, that's when I started to realize how cruel people can be. Like I also mentioned in my I Have Autism video, I was on the basketball team, and I thought, this is great, I'm part of this. I'm part of this group, and I have friends now, but I realized that they were making fun of me behind my back, and they didn't value me as a player, and they wouldn't even let me sit with them at lunch, and I basically had nowhere to sit at lunch in junior high. So I guess thinking about it, that's kind of the start of my whole lunchtime problems. Um, so I started to realize that I was kind of a bit of an outsider in a way, and I really started to realize that when I got to high school. I moved from my hometown. I moved an hour away, and I didn't know anybody, and nobody knew me, and I was just starting high school, and I was told all throughout high school how imperative it is to make friends. You need to make friends. If you don't make friends, then they made me feel like if I didn't make friends, I'd be weird and that I was nothing if I didn't have friends. But from what I learned is that the people didn't really get a chance to know me. Often in school, I like when you know how it works when you're in school and you get paired up on projects and everything. I preferred to work by myself, for one thing because I was uncomfortable working with other people who didn't want me in their group, and another thing is that I actually got the work done, and I worked a lot better when I can do things and learn things on my own. And a lot of the times the teacher force me to had to force me to be in a group of people. Yeah, that's what I mean, a group. And I remember one time in particular, we were, I guess, we were switching groups, and nobody wanted me in the group at all. No, I even went up to people and asked, "Hey, can I be in your group?" And they said, no, and it took me crying in front of the class for the teacher to just force me to go somewhere, and it was incredibly awkward because obviously they didn't want me in their group, and I didn't want to be in a group where I wasn't welcome or felt included. And I was actually forced to be in a class where I had to, or basically, what I learned in that class is how you're supposed to act around people and how to make friends. I guess it's similar, like if you've ever watched The Middle, it's very similar to the class that his parents forced Brick to go in, his social group class. And I honestly don't think I've learned anything in that class. The teacher I had was probably one of the worst teachers I've ever had. She didn't really care the one time, and I remember one instance, she drug my desk, like if I was looking this way, if the chalkboard was this way, I was looking this way, she drug my desk so I can look at her. And then she took me outside the room and said, "You know how disrespectful you are." And I felt, I couldn't believe that happened. I was like, why, why would, so I told a teacher about that, and she was like, "You're not disrespectful at all." I mean, it just made no sense to me, but um, the purpose of that class was supposed to teach me how to make friends, but I tried to cooperate and do exactly what they said, but nothing seemed to work. I remember one time they tried to get me to be friends with somebody, I guess, who went through similar situations I did in high school, and I think I messaged her once, and she messaged back, and then after I told them that she messaged me and everything, I never heard from her again, so didn't quite get that. And then one instance where I tried to make a friend, we actually made a plan to go to our local outlets shopping, and she never showed up, and I was so crushed because here I'm doing exactly what they want me to do to make friends, but this is what I get in return. And what's even more shocking is they still tried to get me to be friends with this girl, even though she did that to me. I honestly did not get it, and I came to the realization that I had to make friends on my own terms, and it's kind of weird at times because at times I feel more comfortable being by myself, but then other times I feel very jealous because I don't fit in. I'm not like everybody else, and I don't always fit in with other groups, but there are times where I look at people who have groups of friends, and I feel jealous because I want friends too. It's just a matter of finding the right ones. And I found out that from my experience, it's better to have one friend that'll last a lifetime than having a big group of friends that only lasts for a few months or a year or so. And on my own, I actually did make a friend, and we have very similar interests, and we accept each other for who we are, and we're there for each other, even though distance keeps us apart. We make it a habit to stay in contact and to see each other, and in fact, this summer we actually, well, I guess technically this spring we actually met for the first time in 2 years, and it was such a great time. We both had a good time enjoying ourselves. We actually met in Disney World, so what better way to spend a day with your best friend than at the happiest place on earth? And we had such a great time. We had so much fun riding the rides and, catching up on lost time. It was like, even though we haven't seen each other in 2 years, it's like we see each other all the time, you know what I mean? And it was very bittersweet when we had to say goodbye. It took us about 5 to 10 minutes to actually go separate ways because because the whole distance thing, we don't know when we're going to actually see each other again. So we I like to think of it as a beaches friendship, which as you know me, I love beaches, so I find it so cool and so awesome I have a beaches friend. But we always make a habit to text or FaceTime, email, or sometimes even write letters. And I think that's truly special when you can find somebody who doesn't want to change you and accepts you for who you are, and you share a lot of the same things, because it's easier to talk to someone when you have similar interests or traits, or when they've been through the same things that you have. I guess with me having trouble making friends, sometimes it's hard for me to tell who the bad people are and who the good friends are. I usually have a pretty good indication on who the good people are, but sometimes, you never know. And I sometimes become frustrated because I try so hard to fit in and try to be included, and try to, if I see someone with similar interests as me, I try to, jump in on the conversation and try to fit in. And sometimes, I don't think people mean to be per se, but sometimes they'll kind of be mean and either like ignore me, or it just makes me feel like I'm not included, and that gets me a little frustrated. But I'm learning to be more open to other people and being able to express myself and be more open about my story, so people can see that I am a very loyal person, and that I'm fun, I'm very nice and kind, and people find that we have a lot in common. And I think one reason why I have trouble making friends isn't really my fault, but it's the fact that when people hear the word autism, they automatically judge you and put a label on you, and they think that just because you have autism, you're like incapable of making friends. Well, no, I guess I wouldn't say that, but they just look at you as like you're disabled, and like we shouldn't be around you. Like, all through high school, like I mentioned, nobody wanted to be friends with the quiet girl, and in high school, like, nobody knew I had autism. But as I become more open to other people, I feel more comfortable sharing that I have autism. And I found mixed reactions from people when I say that I have autism. On one hand, I have people that are very supportive and very accommodating, and they're aware that I have a disability, but they treat me like everybody else, and that's what I want, to be treated like they would treat anybody else. And they are aware I have a disability, and they make accommodations for me when I need it. But then on the other hand, you have people that when they hear that you have autism, they like start to ignore you, and then they really aren't interested in you. Like, I've had people who I guess you can say we were, I guess, starting to be friends, but then once I said I have autism, they didn't want anything to do with me anymore. And that hurt. I mean, it really did hurt my feelings, and I don't think people understand how to explain this. I don't think people understand how that, like, we have feelings too. I mean, when people purposely disclude us or ignore us and make us feel that we're inferior to them, it just brings us down, then it really sets its back a notch. I mean, instead of trying to go forward, we kind of go back a little bit. We try to figure out where to go from here. And I've been a lot better at that. I've come to accept that not everybody's going to like me. I'm not going to like everybody, and not everybody's going to like me. And I shouldn't have like negativity in my life. I should surround myself with positive people who love and accept me for who I am. And I'm lucky that I do have my friend, and I have a select few people who do support me in everything that I do in my dreams and my goals, and people that love and accept me for who I am and loves me for all my uniqueness and all my wonderful quirks. So I guess if I could give advice to anybody who is struggling making friends, is just to be yourself. It took me many years to realize that you're much more happy being yourself than trying to be like everybody else, and that kind of then you're kind of not being you. You're kind of like hiding yourself from everyone, and basically just to be yourself because you are perfect the way you are. Definitely don't listen to what other people say. If you're interested in something that others may not like or may not appreciate, then don't let anybody tell you differently. That you like or do whatever you're interested in. So, and I guess another piece of advice would be to never give up, because I spent a long time trying to find out I spent a long time trying to find a friend that was right for me, and I actually found one. So never give up, because you'll find friends who are cool and who are compassionate and love you for who you are. I think that's what we all want in a friend. So I hope you guys enjoyed my I Have Autism making friends video. I hope it was very informal. I hope it was very informational. I mean, if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below. If you guys have any suggestions for me to make another I Have Autism video, I'd be more than happy to listen to your suggestions and make another one. Like, subscribe, and remember, stay regal.